Welcome to the Phillip Wiley Show. Take a look behind the curtain of professional hacking and hear compelling discussions with guests from diverse backgrounds who share a common curiosity and passion for challenges and their job. And now, here's your host, offensive security professional, educator, mentor, and author, Phillip Wiley.
In this episode, I'm very happy to have Emily joining. Emily is a member of our Dallas Hackers Community. We've known each other for a few years now, and so it's really been great to see her progress in her career and how she's helping out the community and helping others. So she's been gracious enough to join us today to share her story of how she got started in cybersecurity, as well as her advice. Welcome to the show, Emily.
Hi, Phil. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm excited to be here and chat with you and speak with people that are prospectively looking into this industry.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I mean, I keep periodically running to people and think people should be on the show, so it's good to have you on here. I think your perspective would be very important, and so I guess we probably first met through Pwn School or Dallas Hackers Association, I guess is how we first met.
Yeah, exactly. I moved here in around 2018, actually around the same time that Juno moved here. And so I met everybody in the community all about the same time, between you and when Tinker was still here, Wirefall, Mad Hat, all those friends.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Some interesting times, because it's funny that you mentioned Juno. It was a while back, had shared about, I got started teaching in 2018 and started Pwn School in 2018. And it was interesting that she attended my Pentester Blueprint talk at B-Sides DFW that year. And that's one of the things that influenced her to get into pen testing, which was pretty cool.
And that's also having her as a friend and these people in the community like y'all that are pen testers and are sharing this information is what has inspired me to move into security. Because in my tech career, I was working as a consultant more on the hardware and management side before I moved to Dallas. And when I met y'all in this community, it really made me interested in the subsect of cybersecurity. And even I was joking with you earlier this week about through all of this time with the hacker community, I still don't want to be a pen tester full time. I love blue team. So at the same time, learning those things has helped my career, but it's still, I found something else I prefer, but it's still related to security.
Well, that's a good lesson to learn, because, some people that are trying to get started out, usually what they hear about, or the only things they hear, is ethical hacking, working as a pen tester. And there's a lot of jobs out there that are a lot of fun and interesting story that I like to share. One of my previous guests and former coworkers from US Bank, he worked in IT at the bank before I joined, and he was taking SANS courses to get into digital forensics. So he took all these SANS courses and then decided one semester or one class, he decided he was going to take a pen testing class. Maybe if he learned pen testing, he would be a better digital forensics analyst. And through taking that class, he found out that he wanted to be a pen tester. So I think it's important that people, try the different areas and not just say, I want to be a pen tester. I mean, there's so many areas that are so cool. And one of the things that's great to have seen over my 19 years in security is the fact that when I got into it, there was like network security, GRC. There really wasn't much to it at all. And now pen testing was around, but it was rare to get those type of jobs. Digital forensics was around, but you just really didn't see all the jobs that you see now. And it's, people may have a lot more fun doing something like incident response, threat hunting, or so forth.
And even as cybersecurity has evolved and organizations' security posture has evolved, now we have all these different certifications like SOC 2. You have all these compliance-related certifications. You have cyber insurance that is upping the standards for organizations to where people need to be in those organizations with the knowledge to help them reach that standard. And that's part of the whole security architecture that is sometimes either A, overlooked, or B, put to the side, where some companies will get the pen test done and then they won't remediate. And then the tester comes back next year, they did their third-party test, but the vulnerabilities are still there. Somebody's got to be able to know how to fix that.
That's true. Very true. So it's really cool the way things have evolved, and it's really good that we're fortunate in the DFW area to have such a strong community. Although there's virtual communities that people can connect online, and a lot of places do have communities, but it's kind of nice that we have the one that we have here, because I really find it really kind of hard to beat what we have.
Oh, honestly, I would not be nearly as far in my career without the community that has been here. And to a big point of that, it also shows how valuable networking is in all parts of your career. Even just being physically in Dallas has opened up a bunch of doors for me between talking with other people too.
Yeah, and that's such a plus when you're trying to get into security. When you, especially you take, it's good for anyone. I mean, to network, because if you could be an industry veteran with a lot of experience, every credential or qualification needed, but if people don't know you, it's kind of hard to get jobs. And for people that are beginners, if they leverage that networking component, it's going to make their life a lot easier finding their first job and then jobs going forward.
Absolutely, I definitely agree.
So why don't we get you to take a step back and have you kind of tell us about your career, kind of how you got started, and kind of what type of work you're doing now.
I have a very unconventional start myself. I graduated from high school back in 2012. I started work in the culinary industry, and also was working as a waitress and bartender at the time to make ends meet. Did that for several years, and during that time, you're speaking with people, you're learning a lot of soft skills, you're learning how to interact with people when they're stressed and when they're happy, which helped me gather a lot of skills that would become useful later in my career. As I started to meet more people, I networked with someone that did consulting on the side, like installing self-checkouts at Walmart, access points in corporate buildings, things like that. And that's how I got my start in my IT career, was just freelancing, doing all these different gigs that I would find on different online platforms. That built into a full-time job, that then built into a job at an enterprise for full-time IT, that then built into, in my time in Dallas, they transferred me over to Dallas. I met people in the DHA community, which led to my first job for a private cloud provider. And that was a really integral part of my growth, because it was very interesting to me, especially in larger organizations. Everyone's siloed. The desktop engineers are siloed, the provisioning team is siloed, security team is siloed. You never really get to touch all the tools. So working for a smaller organization that also did hosting gave me a lot of knowledge that I feel like I would not have been able to gather otherwise in a production environment, between deploying firewalls, deploying servers, setting up new servers and services, setting up MFA products, all of these, setting up EDR, deploying it to multiple organizations. That would become very valuable as time would go on. And I started to look into a career that was specifically security related. And now I'm working as an analyst full time for a finance organization. And I love my team. I love being able to spend my day learning and researching. And I feel like the skills that I built on throughout these years helped me a lot, because even when I was working for that small cloud provider, I was speaking with my managers and my boss about, hey, I'm into security. Come to find out, they had someone who needed a pen test done. I have a business partner that was able to do the digital part, and I was able to do the physical part. And that physical test, I ended up being successful in getting privileged access to a building and getting a badge and everything. That helped to really steer my career towards security, fast tracking wise, because being able to actually use those skills that I had learned as like on-site technician at large corporate buildings helped me to figure out different ways into another corporate building, because I was used to being the on-site tech. I was used to seeing, hey, this is how they program their badge readers. This is how these buildings are usually laid out. So I kind of already knew the vulnerability points from having to work in buildings like that.
And that experience from working in IT probably helps you whenever you have to do any kind of social engineering too, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even my time as a waitress, because people need to like you for you to be able to pay your bills at the end of the day when you're a waitress. So all of that built on each other. And even though it wouldn't have been just the school to cybersecurity pipeline like some people dream of, all of the time I spent building soft skills, I feel has made me into a better engineer.
So what was kind of your education approach to getting into cybersecurity? Was it just all on the job, or did you do any other type of training and stuff to skill up?
On the job, most of the organizations I've worked at have been heavy Microsoft shops, and Microsoft is a beast, so it takes a lot to be able to secure that properly. So staying up to date with Microsoft certifications, Udemy, and then a platform that I really love is letsdefend.io, where they go through a lot of cybersecurity analyst training, even to the point of incoming of an alert, checking the assets, working through the procedures, making a determination on what's going on. It's a great platform that I would recommend to anyone who's trying to learn a little bit about what an analyst does day in and day out, because people actually ask me that a lot of what does my day look like, because they hear, hey, that's a good job for me, who has also, I get a lot of people who reach out to me who also work consultants who are trying to move into cybersecurity. And I think an analyst is a good role for you to kind of see everything and see what gets flagged when you do these certain things and what gets flagged when people interact with bad things, so that you can know if you become an attacker, how to not trigger all of that.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for sharing that resource, because I get so many people asking about where to find, SOC analyst training, because, you see all these other certifications, the CompTIA, Security Plus, the CISA Plus, and these different things, but trying to find something, that covers SOC analyst training is a good resource. So people listening, SOC analyst is a good way into cybersecurity. So that may be an area for them to try to consider, whenever they're trying to decide where they want to what they want to do when they get into cybersecurity.
Oh yeah. And definitely for blue team, there's not a lot of fun little platforms like there are like TryHackMe. TryHackMe has the blue team course, but I have not done it yet, so I can't speak to it. But most of them are oriented towards red team. So when I saw Let's Defend and actually got to play around with the platform and do some training, I fell in love with it.
That's good. I actually went to the site, and the logo for Let's Defend looks familiar. I've seen that before.
Oh, nice.
So as far as people trying to get into the industry, do you think they need certifications or degrees?
So I told you about my weird way in, and truthfully, all of that experience does help, but it was not easy for me by any means, Phil. And I did mention having the DHA community around me did help me in my career. And I can understand that people listening may not be geographically in this area and may not have those opportunities like I did. So for a more blanket way, I would recommend trying to at least find one low-level cert, whether it be Microsoft Security Analyst, like SC200, we're talking like MS 500, 365 Analyst, anything like Security Plus is great. The CYSA by CompTIA is great. I would recommend at least a low-level cert to prove that you did retain this knowledge, because not everyone can network with people. We're still dealing with the pandemic. We're still dealing with some groups that shut down during COVID have not come back. So some people may not have resources around them. I think at least one cert would help you get in the door. But overall, I think the actual skills and taking the time to get work experience and build on your experience will be very valuable for your career. And it also may teach you that you have a different subset you want to actually learn about. Like maybe while you're learning about this, you decide you want to be the best DBA there ever was. Who knows?
So what about coding? Do you think coding is a requirement for someone that's wanting to get started?
I don't think coding is as important as at least knowing a little bit of scripting. Because when you're starting to do training, when you're starting to either on the red team side or the blue team side, scripting at least in PowerShell or Python, I feel very much helps in remediation processes and as an attacker. So I don't think necessarily learning a coding language is as important as learning least something about scripting to where you can build on that.
So that's some great advice. So based on your experience, is there anything you would do different trying to get into cybersecurity?
Personally, I feel I'm happy with my background because I got time to stick my toe into the red team side. I got time to stick my toe into the enterprise side, and all of that. I think if I were to do anything differently, I would have pursued a certification earlier in my career because I spent a lot of time at a lower level than I feel like I was capable of for a while. And it was just because people wanted to see a certain number next to my work experience of 2 years, 4 years, what have you. But now that I have multiple years of experience in tech and cybersecurity, I feel like getting a certification earlier on would have sped it up, but I still don't have any regrets because I wouldn't have met y'all.
So I know you had all this connection to the community, but did you specifically have mentors that helped you along the way?
Honestly, I really appreciate Tinker's help. I really miss that guy. Whenever I was getting ready to do my first physical test, I was eaten up with imposter syndrome. I wasn't sure what to do. I didn't even know how to put on a wig. So like I was reaching out to Tinker, like, asking help with like how to use a Proxmark, how to do all these different things, how to even write a report for a physical test. Because I've seen lots of reports for the virtual test, but I've never read one for a physical. And he wrote me a little sample, walked me through the best way to lay it out. Just I cannot appreciate that help enough because that really, and then that assistance on how to write the report and the encouragement before I completed the test, I feel was a big reason why it ended up being successful. Is because I had someone that was a professional personally believing in me, and that really helped to build my confidence on that end.
Yeah, and the physical area is kind of really hard to find more information on. So a mentor is especially helpful. And then just the amount of people that actually do that kind of work too is kind of not as much as other areas of offensive security.
Oh yeah, the few experts there are out there are so inundated with work, it's hard to get time to speak with them. So I really appreciate them taking the time to speak with me on that because I truthfully don't think I would have been as successful without encouragement from a professional.
So based on the experience you've kind of had on the offensive side, has that helped you be a better defender?
Oh, definitely. Even as I'm learning about like writing custom detections within the different platforms we're using at my new organization, I can write the detection all day, but if I don't test it, how do I really know that it's working? So being able to know how to execute these certain techniques that I'm also supposed to be detecting for, because the landscape is changing every day, it's really helped me with being a better blue teamer.
Yeah, another thing that's great too with the skill set you have would make good for purple team operations too. Some purple team.
Oh yeah, that's definitely where I see my career in the next 5 or 10 years is either purple team or architecture, security architecture.
Yeah, because that kind of, you're talking about writing the rules and stuff made me think of Tinker back when he was his first security job working as a SOC analyst, and he was really clever to sit there during the pen tests and monitor traffic and stuff while the pen test is going on to be able to have better detection, which I thought was pretty smart. And that was really kind of before you really heard much of the term of purple teaming, which to a degree was kind of purplish what he's doing.
Yeah, that's definitely a technique I'm going to steal next time we have one.
Yeah, it's I really think the purple teaming has a lot of value because when you think about be able to test for different tools and that sort of thing, and being able to eliminate certain tools from the arsenal of an attacker, the better off you're going to be. Maybe you can't eliminate nation state, but you think about the number of people you can eliminate by not allowing certain tools to run on the endpoints in the environment.
Yeah, and being able to know exactly what those techniques are so that you also, in those, whenever you're trying to deny those types of commands for being run on the endpoint, you also need to know what the impact is as an organization, because you don't want to implement a control and then the developers are yelling at you because none of their stuff's working. So it's good to have all of that knowledge built in when you're trying to secure against attackers.
Yeah, definitely. As far as some of the skills you'd recommend for someone that's trying, because we talk about the technical skills, you mentioned IT skills, security skills, as far as like soft skills, writing, speaking, different communication skills, what are some tips you have there?
A big one that I know is a soft skill that people struggle with and some people excel at is empathy. You can't attack a situation that could be, bad for your business or what have you with an end user or a group of users in a way that isn't understanding where they're coming from, because you're not going to get through to them. And if it's just like dealing with small children, you can't do negative reinforcement. If you do positive reinforcement, even if people make mistakes, you build a better relationship with your organization. Because if you have a bad relationship from a security side, I've seen in organizations, people are kind of apprehensive to change. They're apprehensive to telling you the truth about, hey, did you really click on this? Now you're digging through logs even further. It's slowing down the remediation process. So if you have empathy towards users, I feel that helps a lot. And that, having that empathy can allow you to speak with them in a way that they can understand. Because also, a lot of times you have to use layman's terms because not everyone you're speaking with is as technically savvy as you are, whether it's executive level, business unit level, what have you.
Yeah, and that empathy goes a long ways. Even people in IT or help desk really needs to have empathy. I used to work with this guy and that's one of the things too, where we have to have those soft skills, that empathy, those people skills are important. Because I used to work with this guy and we supported these appliances, Linux-based appliances that ran checkpoint firewall and VPN. The guy was super sharp, but man, if he got on the phone with an end user and they just really weren't picking it up, they really weren't that tech savvy, needed the help, he would yell at them on the phone, which is kind of sad that, that customer probably didn't want to ever have to call that company back again after that experience with him.
Yeah. And like, who knows, that person could then click on something weird and then they want to call help desk and they aren't going to want to because they're scared they're going to get that person. It builds on the experience from users to the IT organization, because tech's not going anywhere. So especially with remote work, these people are going to have corporate devices. They're going to be using more corporate assets. You got to make sure that they're not afraid to speak with your team.
Yeah, definitely. And if you cause someone to have a bad experience, they kind of, get scared to deal with someone else in the future. So
exactly.
So is there any other advice you could think of that you would give someone that's wanting to get started in the cybersecurity field?
I know Twitter is kind of wishy-washy day by day, but I still tell people InfoSec Twitter is a great place to be. Follow people that you see post content that interests you. There's a lot of great people out there, and just, look up different things on meetup.com that could be possibly cybersecurity related in your area. In Dallas, we have more than we could handle, like something going on almost every single week. So there might be things in your area you may not know about. So just go out there, look, and don't be afraid, because honestly, these people aren't going to bite. So everybody at these places has been so nice. I really can't be thankful enough to Wirefall for bringing that great organization to us every month. And yeah, it's just been invaluable.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how Dallas Hackers Association has really helped the overall security culture in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Because before that, I don't think there was as many people involved. Because myself, I found out about DC 214 through Dallas Hackers Association. So, there's ways to meet others and find about other groups through these organizations.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes if you feel you really like an organization, ask for help, because people always want new speakers. They want new perspectives. There's always something that you could be getting involved in. And then who knows, that could become your red paperclip, and you trade up and you trade up and you meet more new people. And next thing you know, you're the best hacker there ever was.
Yeah, and in that same subject there too, if someone's not ready to speak yet, conferences always need volunteers, and that's a really good way to get to meet a lot of people really quick.
Yeah, there's a place for everyone, introverts, extroverts, everyone. There's a space in this community, and we're always ready and welcoming to new people.
Yeah, definitely. So we're getting down towards the end of the show. Is there anything you'd like to share that we didn't discuss?
No, I feel like we hit most of it on the head. It's just been great talking with you, Phil.
Yeah, it's been great having you on the show. Good to hear a little more about your background. Some cases I've known people for years, but I really don't know their background. So it's good to learn more about your background, and you shared some really good advice that I think is going to be helpful to someone. So I appreciate you taking time on your Friday evening to share your story.
Thank you for having me, and I hope I had some tips that were valuable to someone, and I hope that people continue to stay hungry and want to learn, because there's work out there for you.
Yeah, I can promise you someone's going to get some good for this. So thanks for your time.
Thank you for listening to the Phillip Wiley Show. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, to learn more about Phillip, go to thehackermaker.com and connect with him on LinkedIn and Twitter @Phillip Wiley. Until next time.